Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty. Rowena Dooley asking Sol citizens to report for duty.
And greetings, welcome back to Soul Voices. I am Griffin Gaming RPG. It is Saturday, October, oh my God, January the 28th, and we're wrapping up the month of January, back with some great conversation to talk about Star Citizen and all those things that interest us in relation to Star Citizen. This week, we got ISC back, we got SCL back, the folks at Cloud Imperium are back in the house, and we saw some pretty good stuff this week. I know Fast Cart got to cover a little bit on our Thursday show on Soul Talk, and I'm sure he'll talk a little bit about SCL. But if you haven't had a chance to watch the SCL, it's one with Todd Pappy. There's also, I think, Guillaume and I can't think of the guy from Turbulent. Oh my God, how could I forget the man's name? But you guys know who I'm talking about. Anyway, they had the three of them were on with Disco and talking about 318. And not only was it just about 318, but they also talked about things that were up and coming, which was pretty cool, and why they did some of the things they did, some decisions they may have done differently, but otherwise, yeah, it was a really, really good show. For some reason, I'm not seeing us on both channels, but it looks like it's streaming. It's just not showing it on mine. So I see it on Twitch, I see it on YouTube. I'm not going to worry about it in Restream. If you guys are seeing me, that's great. Thank you guys for joining me today on a Saturday afternoon. Let's see. I saw a bunch of names pop up and I had to clear my thing. Zombie Pig is here. T-Nightster's here. Pops in Space. Fist to Face. Boy, I'm not sure who else is here because I had to erase my thing real quick to see what was going on. But thank you guys for being here. Let's see, who else do I see? New Soul Sounds. Certified Gumbo. Yeah, thank you guys for being here. It's awesome. So many of you guys are here today. DK Wildcat, what's going on? Hey, that's great. Cypress, good to see you too. Listen, as you guys know, this is our one-on-one talk show where you guys get to come in and talk with me about the topics that I pick. And the topics for this week, as you guys know, always come from Spectrum, Reddit, or the gaming industry. And so we do have stuff from both Spectrum and Reddit. And then I've got a video that I want to show you guys and get some feedback on, because there's a question that's always tied to the videos that we show on the show. So sit back, relax, get yourself something to drink. Definitely, if you're going to come in and talk, because you're going to need it to wet the whistle. And yeah, let's go ahead and jump into what's going on for this week. Okay, first thing I picked up from Spectrum this week, it was an interesting piece. You know what? Give me 1 second here. My voice is still interim, guys. I don't know if any of you guys have had like the flu. I haven't had COVID, well, not now, But I got something about a month ago, maybe a little more than that, and I cannot shake this thing that is going on with my voice. It's like there's congestion, but it never seems to want to go away. I don't know if any of you guys have a remedy for that, other than cutting your throat. So if you do, please feel free to let me know, because this has been driving me insane, and I can't take it much longer. I can't take it. Let me get these questions all queued up for you guys. Where's the first one at? Here we go. I don't know why I didn't have this together earlier. Okay, so the first one we have here is called "There's a Problem. I think it needs to be at least discussed." And this is by Flashbang167. Now, this is a pretty long thread. You know, a lot of times, guys, I try to put the info in there so you can just read it on the screen, but I would definitely suggest that you follow me on this link. Let me put it in because I don't have a mod today, as far as I know. Let's see. Let me put this in for you guys because there's a lot. All right, yeah, T Nights, the same thing. Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, it's driving me crazy. And it's like my voice is just not normal, and there's always like this congestion thing that goes in and out. Yeah, but I feel okay, but it's just weird. Okay, so there's the link for you guys. Please feel free to follow along with it. Here it goes. There's a problem I think that needs to be discussed. Does anyone remember that this game is still an alpha, a prototype, something that's supposed to be put together quickly to show a game stripped down to its core principles? I've kind of realized something. The devs are currently working on revamping an already finished landing zone to make it look better. This is a major feature that does very little to help progress of the game, or the fact that they were working on properly simulated rope physics, which would be fine if there was a game about being a crane operator. It's not. 800 people have been working on this game for 11 years, and it feels like this game should have more of its core features. Persistent entity streaming is the defining feature of the game, and yet it's coming in now. And they're currently thinking about static server meshing. Genuinely, where is the end of the alpha phase of this game? What are things that are actually necessary and not unnecessary to this phase of development? What they've made here is amazing, but I feel like they've forgotten what an alpha is. Think about it, really. What is this game really about at its core? 4.0 wants to add a new star system to this game, Pyro, which is great and all, and would be amazing to experience, but I don't think it's critical to the core of this game. We honestly also don't need all of these ships on that backlog. It shouldn't be a priority. We should be focusing on getting as much core tech into each update as possible. That is what an alpha is. They should be working on getting the engine finished and maybe a ship to go with the feature in question so that we can test it. Major features like salvage should come after core systems, like the physicalization of damage and components. Bounty hunting V2 is also something that is beyond the scope of what an alpha should be. We already have a basic form of bounty hunting to test combat. Fleshing it out should come after the alpha cycle is done. We're trying to strap meat onto bones that don't exist yet. So, with the end of this admittedly long and drawn out rant, what are your opinions of anyone who has delegated this precious time to me, just unloading my perceived revelation? I just feel like this doesn't get answered. If it doesn't get answered, we're going to be in alpha stage till this game dies. TDLR, I forget what that means. Somebody remind me what that is. CIG needs to step back and consider what actually needs to be implemented right now to finish the alpha and move on. Also, this is probably written horribly. And then he puts an edit in, and he says, "So I'm in fact a terrible writer. I clarify a few things. I understand that not every team can do everything. Anything I said specifically was just examples. That's my main point, is that CIG needs to rein in on some of the things that they're throwing in the alpha and finish at the core of the game and then move to future stages of development. I also don't know everything that they have done." Okay. So holy smoke. The queue filled up quickly today. I didn't have to tease anybody to come in. I don't know who was first, guys, because I was reading, so please forgive me. So I'm going to go alphabetically this time. Pops is always first. So Pops, today I'm going to make you last. You're probably first in there as always. but I'm going to start with J2, get him kicking us off today, and then we'll move through the names. J2, are you there?
I am here, my man.
Hey, man, how are you, dude?
I'm hanging in the I gotta mute the stream.
Okay.
There we go.
No
Okay.
problem.
All right, man. So yeah, this guy, he's got some points, but his examples are like, it's not really a fair assessment. A lot of the things that he's saying here.
Okay.
One of the first things that jumped out on me was, 800 people for 11 years. It hasn't been 800 people for 11 years. 800 people is recent. They built that up over time.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of things like that. Do you have I don't have the link.
Yeah, I can put it back in
actual
again.
post.
I'll put it back in. Hold on a second. I'll drop it one more time, especially for those who may have gotten here late. There we go. There is a lot here in this post. A lot of points and a lot of counterpoints. There's a lot of stuff here. You're right.
There's a lot of stuff to go back and forth, but the gist of, I think, what he's saying is, he's just questioning the types of features that are being added to the game. And the order that things are being added to, which is the same argument that I bring up a lot, because CIG doesn't always explain their decisions to us, and why they pivot or change tracks on certain things. And those are the times, things that I don't understand are the things that I get up in arms about. But the things he's pointing out here aren't most of the features. He used bounty hunting v2 as his example. Bounty hunting v2 is probably something, he's right, that in and of itself, it's probably something that could wait for a later alpha or even beta type thing to be tested, but it relies on certain core systems, and those core systems need to come into play. And that's the bounty hunt. They're doing just what he told them to do, whereas add a feature and a game system to test that feature with. Bounty hunting v2 is, they're adding FPS scanning, they're FPS radar. There'll be other features that'll come in with the security system and tracking people through, when they pop up on the security terminals and the satellites. So all of those things are coming in to enable bounty hunting v2. Those are all core systemic type features. So his examples are off. While his point may be there to a degree, he's not using the right examples to examine it. He brings up the point about ships too, why they're developing ships, why do they keep adding more ships to the game. Well, that goes back to their marketing. This is another thing that I heard recently, their funding model. Selling ships is literally the entirety of their funding right now. It seems stable, and we feel like Star Citizen is doing well, because their funding's going up every year, and they're breaking records, and they're doing this and they're doing that. But if something were to happen and the pledge store closed overnight, some new law passes, or maybe the website just breaks for a few days, that's a significant dent in whatever funding. And if that goes down for any length of time, how much, CIG doesn't have there's no bank account with 500 million in it. That money goes out as fast as it comes in.
Right.
So if the pledge store were to go away and they stopped selling ships, how much runway do they have? How long could they continue going without any money coming in? And would that be enough for them to get a finished product out the door, which is what they claim to be their real funding model would be, box sales.
Right. That's a good point.
So, that's the, and these are all points that this guy brings up and doesn't, he's
kind of on, but kind of not on too.
Yeah,
Exactly.
He's got points, but he's using very bad examples,
reference points,
to exemplify his points.
Okay. All right, J2. Thank you, man. Yep. All right, guys. I'm not going to talk a lot because I've got to make this show a little bit abbreviated today. We're only going to be on for about a little over an hour, which is about another 45 minutes, 50 minutes. So I'm not going to comment until you guys are done. So just be aware that the show's not going to go the normal hour, 30 hour and 40 minutes today. Let me bring in Jay Voodoo Child. Jay is in with us. Jay, you there? Hello, Jay. Jay is here, but he's not here. Okay. I'll bring him back in the queue in a minute. Let me bring in Kai Zinn next. I'll bring in Kai. Kai, you there?
Hello.
Hey, how are you, man? Yeah, I hear you.
All right. Since you're going to have a short show, I'll make this the only one that I pop in for today.
Okay.
So while I agree with the points that the last commenter made, and I agree that they're very valid, there are two other things that I would like to raise.
Okay.
The first is this. I don't think it's fair to even try to assess what core features and loops and all of the things are in Star Citizen until after we get server meshing. And the reason why is I've literally, I did an interview on my show with 2 CIG employees, and we talked about the fact that they had left the company over a year prior, and this was a while back, and they said there are all kinds of features that are done and just not turned on because they can't afford to turn them on because of the itemization and utility budget. So if you don't work for CIG, you don't know what is in as far as they have on the back end that's fully completed and they're ready to flip the go switch, but they can't until they get the server meshing done. So I think point one is, after they get that done and we see the flood of stuff that has been done for a while and sitting around waiting, then we'll have a much better assessment as to where the game is.
I was going to say this before you go to your next point. Funny that you would say that, because he says they should be focusing on the core tech, which is exactly what you're saying. They have to get the core tech in order to implement all the features that you're talking about that have been sitting on standby. And we know that there's stuff they've had on standby because they've told us that in the past. But because of, as you mentioned, resources and resource usage and management, they can't put everything in. Right, they can't. Okay. Yep. So you had a second point.
And that leads right into the second point, which is this guy doesn't maybe understand. And I know that this sounds like I'm white knighting for the company or whatever, but like the fact of the matter is if you don't understand the process, then your critiques, which may appear totally valid on one level, there are reasons, there are explanations, there are factors that you're not taking into account, which causes you to, let's say, make assessments based on half of the information or less.
Yeah. And that's the tough part about the whole development process, right? Because even though CIG purports transparency, there is still that side of the wizard behind the curtain, right? We don't completely see everything. There's a lot we see, but there's a lot we don't see. Right.
I think in the next year, we're going to have a much better assessment as to where Star Citizen is. And at that point, maybe his complaints will actually appear valid, or maybe many of them will sort of just dissipate like a fog, in which case, like, okay, fair enough. And the other thing is that this game isn't like other games. They weren't knocking out. This isn't this is a labor of love kind of thing. This isn't, hey, I'm knocking out a quick bash it together, play this game for 2 months with your friends, and then on to the next thing. So measuring it that way is also a little
Yeah, I know. All right. It's a hard horse pill to swallow, but that's the horse pill that exists, right? So
yeah. All right, so I'm gonna enjoy the rest of the show from the chat and let you guys be.
All right, bro. Thank you, man. All right, let's try to bring Jay in, see if he's back. Jay Voodoo, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Hey, there he is. How are you, man?
Excellent. Thanks.
Good. You got any thoughts?
Yeah. I'm all for constructive conversations about the game. However, I'm not a developer. I've never been in the room making these decisions, taking such a epic leap in programming and development and what have you. I would suspect that this person does not have that experience as well. I don't think that Spectrum is the right place to talk about things along these lines. If this person wants to be a part of those conversations, apply to CIG, get into the room, hear all the things that are going on behind the scenes, and then make your contributions there. If that's not, satisfactory, then start your own program. Do things your way and go as far as you can. Bring your creativity to the world and make it a better place.
Yeah.
Do it your way.
No. It again, let me share with you. I mean, you know this already, so I'm just going to toss this out here because I was going to save it at the end, but I do want to say it because we have a few more people who want to come in. I think part of it is also, Kai said this earlier, some of it is understanding process. And it seems like he's making this comparison that we shouldn't be in alpha anymore. We should be in beta, right? I went on Wiki, not that Wikipedia is the greatest resource, guys, but it is a generalized resource. And
everything on the internet is
truth, right? It's truth, right? Yeah. But this is what they say that I do know is true, because I also went to a couple of dev sites to see it, and it does match up with what they say. Say alpha is the stage when key gameplay functionality is being implemented and its assets are partially finished. A game in alpha is feature complete. That is a game that is playable and contains many features. These features may be further revised based on testing and feedback. Additionally, small features could be added, similarly planned, but unimplemented features may be dropped, which we have seen happen before. Programmers focus mainly on finishing the code base other than implementing additions. And I'm mentioning that because he seems like he's saying, oh, we should be beyond alpha now, we should be in beta, But I still say that much of what his argument is about core tech, and to Kai's point earlier, they are working on the core systems. That's why we haven't seen more features put in. And I think that maybe there's not an understanding of the depth that CIG is trying to create in this game. And I'm not trying to white knight for them, but I'm saying the more we look at what they're doing, the more I think a lot of us are seeing that they're going much deeper than what we've seen happen in other games. So it's kind of easy to kind of subconsciously compare what happens with other games and want to say that that's what should be happening here. Is that making sense, Jay? Am I making sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, no, thanks for sharing, man. That's good stuff. Appreciate you. Glad we got you back too. Okay. All right. Let me bring Pops and Space in, and then we've got Certified, then we're going to move on. Pops, what you got for me?
Yeah. How you doing? Okay. I'm going to try to make this really fast and quick to the point. Okay. You had a couple of Sundays ago, you had the show where you referencing the Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. And Chris Roberts started off from there talking about a whole bunch of tech that had not been invented yet. The company had, you got to remember, there wasn't even doors. It was just Chris Roberts with the idea, and he came in and got backers. So the 10-year thing, this is not EA. It's brand new. Okay, first of all, if it was EA, then okay, I would understand that. But when we look at this, their communication is open, so we get to see. And I understand the frustration. The frustration is, we hear about all this wonderful tech and all of this Lorville 2.0 coming. They're doing all these changes, and they get us pumped up, which I understand, and we get excited, and we want it, and we want it, and we want it because it's human nature. We want it right then, right now. We get tired of hearing about that it's coming. So I understand the frustration part. They talk about so many things. Especially when they show Lorville, you're going to be able to go here, go there, and all of those different places that we haven't been able to do. But we got to have patience. And the gentleman that wrote the article, first of all, is misinformed, way out of whack. If you don't know what you're talking about, then go learn.
Well, I think the situation is that he does think he knows what he's talking about. I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm saying evidently he does think, like, I think it was who opened us up. It was who opened us up. It was Jay. And Jay mentioned right off the bat, like, he thinks that there have been 800 people working on this for 11 years. And he may honestly think that because that's the assumption, right? He doesn't know that CIG started with a handful of people, and it's taken until just this last year that they actually reached 800 staff members, right? So misinformation is definitely a factor, Pops. I think your point is well made there. And it's hard, right? How do you, I don't know when this person came into the game. They sound like they've been playing it for a little while. Don't seem like they're new, but even people who've been around. I mean, we've talked about how much information there is out there that to try to retrieve all of it and absorb all of it and, go back and watch every video. It's thousands and thousands and thousands of hours.
Yes.
It makes it difficult for some folk. And like you said, you can understand some of the frustration he has, but at the same time, if it's based on some faulty information or maybe not, completely correct information,
and you're right.
There.
He may have put it out there to get answers back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he does say, I want to hear people's opinion, right? He does say that at the end, tell me if I'm wrong or give me your thoughts. So maybe we'll have to drop some comments into his Spectrum chat.
my style is different than him.
Yeah.
My very first day in Star Citizen, I was in the Discord and they were talking and a gentleman asked me my opinion and I said, well, I hope they, get it done. He said, that's all you got to say? I said, well, I've been in the game for 4 hours and 23 minutes. And how much do you think I should be talking about it? So, All
right, Pops.
Okay.
Thank you, brother.
All right.
Last but not least, let's bring in Certified Gumbo, CG. That's like my name, CG. How are you, man?
What's happening? How you doing?
Good. You got any thoughts on this particular Spectrum piece?
Man, that was an interesting read. I agree with everybody up front that said that this was I think he's kind of misinformed, or he's at least missing a lot of detail that's important about the development of this project. I get confused when I see things like that because I'm like, either one, you don't that when you make comments like that, you don't sound like you're involved in or have been involved in game development in any capacity. I know I haven't. I don't know what is and isn't correct and what they are doing wrong or what they are doing right. I don't know. I'm not a part of that environment. Like I have no experience in that whatsoever. So like to criticize like things of that nature, I can't co-sign. But things like, sometimes the way in which they communicate things, CIG, I feel is, valid critique. Like, but, the process that they're choosing to develop the game, I don't think that they always know what the right approach is, because a lot of the times they're doing things that have not been done before.
It's Uncharted.
So
it's Uncharted.
Yeah, like they're going to make mistakes, and that's not a bad thing in my opinion. Like it's just the way that things have to be in order for them to make the game that we want to play.
Yeah.
So like, I take that approach. I followed this game since it was a Kickstarter, but I didn't back it until like 2021. I didn't make I made an account in 2014, but I didn't pledge until like 2021. So like I've loosely followed the development, but I've had to go back and rewatch or watch some things for the first time. While I was out of town and working, like I had a lot of time because I wasn't playing the game. I could go back and watch a lot of the old content and get up to speed on things, and like it's been very helpful because the information is out there if you kind of look for it. So that's kind of how I feel. Yeah.
Well, we have a joke around here that gamers don't read, right? I mean, it's easier for us to watch a video. And that's, sure. I'm one of those people, man. That Squadron 42 newsletter comes out, it's like, I kind of peruse some of it, but I'm more quicker to watch a video, and have somebody else tell me what's there,
Yeah, no. I mean, I appreciate like coming from, I spent a lot of time in console gaming and PC gaming, and I got like the amount of communication that CIG does is really impressive, because you get a patch update in most games and it's going to be like 3 lines of very vague
forum post, and that's it, right?
Oh, we fixed this bug.
Yeah.
Or it'll say like 3 bug fixes, 4 crash fixes, and that is your patch update, and it doesn't tell you anything about anything else. And they're over explaining a lot of things, in my opinion, which is good. I mean, I feel like the devs are very excited about what they're working on, which is good. Like to me, that's kind of more important. Like, do they seem excited to about the things that they're working on and how engaged are they, because that just tells me that they're in a healthy place and they are excited to share what they're working on. So as long as they're excited, then what we get will be really good because they're so focused on it.
Okay, good. Okay. Well, thank you, CG. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, that's a great point that he mentions about, you know, just looking at, I mean, we take it for granted, or I mean, maybe we just don't think about it, but yeah, when you sit there and watch ISC or SCL and the devs come on, whether they're old or new, you still see enthusiasm, you still see excitement, you see the passion that they have, which does say something about the company. It's not like it's in your contract, you have to go on and talk to the community. They're on there because they want to be. And that's, man, I never think about that from that perspective, but thanks, Certified. That was a real good point to bring out. Okay, let's jump into the next one because time is ticking. I got about 35 minutes. The next one. This one, PvP end goal. We need to make it clear. I'm going to drop this one in, y'all. This is another one of them long posts. So click on the link because I can't put it on the screen, but I am going to read it to you like a bedtime story. So PvP end goal. This is by Warhead64. Okay, between the PvP sliders of old and the private servers, no, I guess he meant to say none can afford. And with all the PvP posting on Spectrum this week, it would be nice to see if CIG would come out and be clear about their current intentions for the future of PvP. To me, it sounds like Vanduul's space would be high-end content, raid-style content, requiring the best of the best and largest orgs, but because it's completely lawless and the resource is finite, people could prey on each other. It doesn't mean prey like that, y'all. That's what he wrote, but that's not what he means. The space between Vanduul space and UEE space would be the same, but with human-friendly areas to hang your hat. Still finite resources, and so players can prey on each other. And also land claims could be attacked and made less than efficient or destroyed. In both of those above cases, resources being the motivation behind conflict, resources not limited to ore, fuel, ammo, but to include air to breathe and DNA jelly to respawn, as well as other things we can't imagine. The richer a planet in ore and xenobiologics, the poorer it is in air and water for humans. Projects like terraforming a planet or building a supermassive outpost on par with the likes of a city should be an in-game type of activity for an organization, disrupted by resource-driven wars. Starting areas should not be immune to PvP. It should exist the same as dark alleys in a city. The biggest difference is the police force. How is that different? It's not, except it's in this complete gamescape, the servers are healthy and the NPCs responsive and working. Okay, so I kind of want to go into a couple points here on this one. I'm bringing this up because, well, you know what? I'm not going to bring up nothing. I'll wait till you guys come in and talk about this one. The PvP end goal, CIG needs to make it clear. They have not made clear what the end goal is for PvP, at least to this person. So let's bring in Pops in space. Pops, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. What do you think about this? Should PvP, the CIG need to make it clear what the end goal is for PvP gameplay?
What was it? Maybe 2 weeks ago, they came out with, well, maybe it was longer than that because they've been gone for a while. I'm thinking 2 weeks. Okay. They had a video they came out with, and they talked about the speeds of the ship. They talked about being able to quantum and not being able to quantum when you're being attacked. It is not worked out yet. So I'm not really sure what the person means by end goal. He's throwing out a term, but I'm not really clear what how he's defining it right now.
It sounds like he's well. First of all, he sounds like he has envisioned what he would like to see this game be. For example, he says that to him, if you go out where Vanduul space is, that's going to be more for like the big orgs. Like when you finally have reached a certain level of capacity of fighting, that's where the major big wars are going to go. Then like in the middle of the section, there'll be like the UEE space, in between UEE space and there. That's, kind of like the Lapyro areas, right? Kind of like a mixture of NPC and other things going on. And then you've got the inner areas, which are more the starter areas, but they should still be risky in some form, but they've got the police there. Vinku Skirata, thank you so much for that raid. Party of 6, welcome 6 folks from Vinku's stream. Appreciate you. Hope you had a great stream. And guys, thank you guys for joining us. We're talking about if CIG should make clear a PvP end goal. See, I guess he's trying to say, what are for PvP players, what's going to be the end goal? He doesn't think CIG has made that clear. Do you think that it needs to be made clear right now? Do you think they have made it clear?
See, that's the part that gets me. What does, to use the term end goal where this is a game that does not have an end goal to it. This game is based on adventure. This game is about exploration, going from here to the. I mean, if you want to do cargo back and forth from A to B and A to B, you can do that. But how do you classify? I mean, realistically, if you're an as astronauts, you travel 3 light years away. That's not end goal, is it? Because there's another direction. There's up, down. There's 365. So there's no end goal in outer space.
Okay, so let's hold that point there, because I got 5 people waiting to come in here. 4 people. Yep. But no, I think you raised a very good point. Yeah. He has made a statement that, and maybe this isn't what he means, but it is what he said. He asked for an end goal, and CIG has kind of made it clear that Star Citizen's universe is not about an end goal.
End goal,
right?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you, Pops.
Yeah,
appreciate that. All right. I think I saw. Let me bring in BBG because he hasn't been in here yet, and then I'll bring in J2. It was between the two of them that were next. BBG, you there?
Greetings and salutations.
Hey, brother. How you doing, man?
I'm good. It's good to be with the Soul Citizens in 2023.
Yes, sir.
Questions. Let me be real quick. You and Pops were getting at it, I think. This type of discourse on Spectrum, Reddit, and other places is really driven. Where you stand on this stuff depends on where you sit, right? And if you sit with a PvP mindset, then you're going to be using the language that this poster uses in their post, right?
Okay.
They envision Star Citizen as really being a primarily PvP space. But what's important to remember is what CIG has said this thing will be.
Okay.
Right? They've been very clear that the end goal for Star Citizen is to deliver a universe sim.
Okay.
Quote unquote, a universe sim. And so a universe sim means that, and if somebody said it in the chat, any end goal is going to be whatever the player wants it to be.
Not one of the CIG sets.
And that's the art of what they're trying to do, right? Which is to create this environment where we all can do what we want to do. And there's not many experiences out there like that. Second Life reached for that. Star Wars Galaxies to a certain extent reached for some of that. This is a rare gaming experience. And so to ask CIG at this point, one, to sort of narrow their view of a particular type of historic PvP. I don't think that the PvP is going to be limited to the PvP forms that we've seen in other games. I think that what we've seen for PvP in other games is going to be as part of a spectrum of PvP approaches that we'll be able to experience in Star Citizen, because they're going for a much bigger concept than some other games are going for. They're going for a universe sim. And so, right now, if you, and somebody responded in Spectrum, I think effectively, to talk about this idea that that the poster gets at around, in real life, you can be attacked in an alley. It can happen anywhere at any time. Well, that's a very American sentiment.
Very subjective, right? Depends on where you live.
That's right. It really depends on where you live. In America, we have 21,000 murders a year or whatever. If you live in Germany,
go to the alley, no problem.
It's very unlikely, right? And then it also depends on what you choose to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's not just this thing that's imposed upon you no matter where you are. Right. So, I think that folks that are paying attention to these types of posts need to remember what CIG has said and what they're reaching for, and recognize that, listen, for those folks that are worried that there's not going to be any PvP, I think we can end their worries right now. There will be plenty of PvP.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Large scale, small scale, they'll be able to do that.
Yeah.
But for everyone else who is hearing so much PvP conversation, we need to remember and feel comfortable knowing that CIG hasn't forgotten that this is a universe sim. And if you don't want to do any of that, you are going to be able to live a Star Citizen life away from that stuff.
Yeah.
Right? With all the costs and benefits thereof, right? Like, you're also not going to be able to make any money in combat if you're living away from combat.
Right,
So,
right.
So that's all I wanted to say.
No, it's good stuff. Thank you. I appreciate that,
Thanks.
BBG. Yeah, I mean, BBG makes some good points there, but in particular, reminding us that the verse is bigger than that. And I know this person may not be just kind of exclusively, but obviously they have a passion for PvP, and that's cool. But one of the things we've talked about on the show before is people kind of have a tendency to overlay what they want the game to be, trying to supersede what maybe CIG is trying to do. And it's hard, right? Because, we see the universe and we see all the possibility, and it's very easy to get excited and say, this is what I want to do. But there's still going to be the rules that how they design the game that we have to live within. So just something to think about. Let me bring in J2, then Fist, then Certified. Then I'm going to hit probably my last thing for tonight if I can get to it. J2, you there?
Yes, sir.
Hey, yeah, what you got about making clear the PvP end goal?
Yeah, I think you kind of nailed it with that last thing that you just said there. I hear a lot of people. I don't think he's talking about necessarily the player end goal here. He's talking about the end goal for the game and what the overall final product will look like. And the steps that he lays out may be the right steps to take in order to get to where he wants to go. But where he wants to go may not be the same thing that CIG has in mind.
Yeah.
So, and not only may it not be the same idea that CIG has in mind, it may not line up with the vision in my head or someone else's head. So someone else is going to look at his post and say, well, no, you're wrong, because it's not going to be like that. It's going to be like this.
Yeah.
But we don't know how it's going to be because CIG hasn't told us.
To your point, G2, I've seen us, and I'm going to say us because I've been included. I have seen us try to say what the game will be because we're doing it based upon what's in our hands, right? But
exactly,
the Van Duel may not be the baddest MFs in the verse. You know what I'm saying? They may not be. There may be somebody else out there that CIG we don't even know about. That we think that, once we reach the Van Duel, we've reached the epitome of PvP. No, there could be a species. What's that species, y'all? 357 that was in Voyager that'll kick everybody's butt. We don't know. Yep. Right? We just don't know.
The Xi'an won't even tell us about the Krthak.
Yes.
Yes. And there's a rumor, I heard some obscure bit of lore that someone thinks that the Krthak is what's pushing the Van Duel into our territory to begin with. So, there's a whole thing going on there. And that's just the lore part of it. That's not even talking about, game systems and functionality and how things are going to work. Because all we really know of the end product, the final goal of Star Citizen as a game, are those design documents that they gave us 8+ years ago that haven't been updated or reiterated on and are buried on the website that you can't even find unless you know what you're looking for. And so many people out there now haven't read those or haven't looked into all the old past posts, there's dozens. I mean, these guys, the devs are prolific in the stuff that they put out. So you can't, when people bring up the argument about transparency or communication, you immediately you look at Star Citizen's YouTube page, you look at Spectrum, you look at these and you say, look, you're nuts because look at all this stuff they're putting out. But it's all scattered and tidbits. It's drips and drabs. And unless you've been here through it all or had the tenacity to go back through it all and put it all together, you really don't have a clear picture of what's going on. And even if you have, that picture is subject to interpretation. I put all this information together, and my idea of what the end game is going to look like may be very different from what you imagine. And that's, that to me is, like 95% of drama and arguments that happen around Star Citizen is a difference of vision.
That's
and
true.
you know, a lack of clarity about where we're going.
True. Okay.
You
Thank you,
know? So,
J2. Good
yes,
stuff,
sir.
brother. I couldn't have said it better. That's good stuff. Thanks, man. All right, let's bring in Fist to Face. I think I might be able to get this other one in before my time runs out. Hey, Fist, you there?
Hello. Hey, how are you?
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to jump in. Everybody said great points about it, but I want to kind of jump to a point that he talked about here. He said starting areas should not be immune to PvP. It should exist the same as dark alleys in the city. The biggest difference is the police force, which I can kind of agree, because when you think about it, it's like, okay, we are kind of coming into an open world, and, you know, we kind of want that lifelike realism, but I get it, where I would see that point to be where, like, we played Mortal Online too. When you go on a Bhakti, there's guards all around. Now, if you start some stuff, they on your ass.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, real quick.
So don't think that is even though it's, you can start some stuff, you know what I mean, but don't think that the police force is not going to be there. And I will say that part I would like to see, because for sure enough, I would love to see somebody, you know, start something, and then guess what? I'm looting all your stuff and I'm gone. See ya. But that's my point I wanted to make.
Okay.
That's it.
Good point. Thanks, Fist. I love it. It's a good point. Yeah, the police and Bhakti do not play. All right, last but not least, let's bring in Certified Gumbo, and we'll be able to get our other questions in. Certified, you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Hey,
I'm
great.
here.
Yeah, we got some thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to be brief.
Sure.
I'm going to treat this as if I were talking to the OP, or if they were listening, and
Okay.
I'm going to offer some sound advice.
Okay.
But start with a quote from Todd Pappy from Friday on the Star Citizen Live. He says that they want to create opportunities and leave it up to the players to decide what they do with those opportunities. And that is literally what you have to apply to PvE conversations, PvP conversations, any type of gameplay oriented conversations that you have. Like, their plan is to create opportunities and leave it to us as players to decide how we exploit those.
Let me ask you something, CG. Is that part of the problem, that gamers have been kind of, I'm using this word loosely, trained over the years, that everything has, that the developer always has to create this end goal, and that we've kind of forgotten what that open world sandbox idea is, that it's literally in the hands of the players to determine what happens in the game?
Yes, because I mean, so often that sandbox style format has not worked because of the structure of the traditional MMORPG, which is you have levels and experience, and they have content locked behind level. So if you are level 10, you can't do the level 50 content, and vice versa. This is not that type of game, and this is not the style. Like, reputation is the closest thing that we'll have to experience points and leveling. Like, this is more or less a, you know, what have you done for me lately type of system, where the more confident the mission givers are in your abilities, the more likely they are to provide you with more opportunities for basically higher pay.
So this isn't the dungeon that you've heard about, the Great Red Dragon, but you can't go in the dungeon yet because you're not there. In this game, if you want to fly out to where the Vandal are as a beginner, feel free, right? Have at it, Hoss.
Absolutely do that.
Okay.
Right. Go have fun. Good luck. 07's to you. It's
Okay.
If that's what you want to do, like, that's what they're trying to build. Like, and that's what it should be. I think they CIG should hit on that a little bit more. Like, this isn't, yes, there will be narrative driven content,
right?
But the idea is that the driving force behind a lot of the content is what players do, and basically quanta. Like, that's basically where the gameplay is going to come from. Like, just player interaction and what the quanta system does. Outside of that, like, we can't get into the weeds of it because we don't really know, like, until they tell us.
Right. Huh, okay. That's
That's all-
no,
that's all I
I
got.
I know what you shared was good, because I think that man, I can go on a whole tirade about, why gamers feel a certain way about games, especially like in goal, and how we've been trained to like. I've said this a million times before. The guys who've been on this show before have heard me say this before. When I was coming up back in the day, when you played a game, you actually wanted to play a game for 50, 60, 100 hours. And now the psychology has flipped around to be able to feel proud about that I finished the game in 12 hours. You know what I mean? It's like reaching end goal is such a big thing now versus the experience. You know what I mean?
The XP grind was everything back in the day. Like that was the reason to log into a game. Like I remember playing RuneScape for like hours, cutting down trees just so I could get to level 99 to get a freaking cape. Like, for what?
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm at that point. I can't commit that type of time to a game. Like, and this game is can be time consumer based on the types of activities you want to. But at the same, I'm not beholden to that XP grind, because like the thing is with those systems, right? Like, okay, game launches, level cap 50. Everybody gets to level 50. What do? What? Expansion pack. Bam. Now level cap is 55, and all that gear you spent 100, 200 hours grinding for is absolutely valueless.
Okay.
And I could do that when I was younger, but now I'm just like, I can't do that
all that
anymore. Like it is. Oh,
ain't got time for all that. Ain't nobody got time for that, right?
frustrating.
Ain't nobody got time for that. All right. Thank you, CG. Appreciate you.
No problem.
Okay. All right. We are going to squeeze in this last one. Now, listen, I'm going to do a rapid one on this one, guys. I'm going to request, because I do want to show you the video still, and we still have time for me to pull this off. I've got 20 minutes. So I'm going to spend about 7 minutes on this, and then hopefully I can get the video in, and then you guys can give me some comments on that. Okay, let me pull the question up first. That would help, right? Okay, so the question is, Stanton to the verse 0, picking my new home planet in Stanton, where do you call home? Okay, that is the question. I want you guys to tell me. There's the link for it. It's just a survey, The question is, where in Star Citizen do you call home now? Many of you guys know that Orison, they reduced the height for leaving Orison. A lot of people were hollering, oh my God, I got to go 70,000 kilometers before I can get out of the atmosphere. I'm not staying at Orison. I'm not visiting Orison. My question to you is, where do you call home? Where do you call home, and why? That's what I want to know. Why did you pick that place for your home, and where is it? Okay. So you guys can jump on in chat and tell me that if you want to. Nobody's there yet, so maybe nobody's going to answer the question. So maybe I'll go to the next thing. I'll give it a couple seconds. All right. Pops is jumping in. All right. Pops.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, where do you call home, and why?
Where my ship is at?
Home.
Is that the right answer?
Home. Home could be in your ship. Home could be at whatever. I just want to know where's home at, and why did you pick that?
I thought this was like Jeopardy. We get to answer the question and maybe win a prize.
No, you ain't gonna get no prize. You get the. I can't give you a 30K because the boys ain't here today, but I can let you tell me. So where do you make home, and why?
I make home basically at New Babbage because it shopping.
Okay.
The convenience of shopping, getting what I need.
When you say shopping, what is there some store particular that you like going to, or some particular item you like getting there versus other places?
Just basically weapons.
Okay, the weapon shop.
It's for weapon. Yeah.
Weapons. Okay, is that center mass, right? Is that center mass there?
Center mass.
Okay, that's where you get the bulk of your stuff. Is it ship weapons or personal weapons or both?
Personal
weapons. Okay.
Yeah, I don't bother with ship weapons
right now. Okay, so for you, it's New Babbage, and you're there because of center mass. You get your personal weapons there. Okay.
Yep.
All right, Pops.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right, let me bring J2 in. J2. Where do you call home, and why?
I normally center on Orison.
Orison. Okay. Any particular reason other than the beauty of Orison?
Ship parts. That's where all the
Cousin Crows.
Yes, Cousin Crows.
Okay, Cousin Crows.
Second choice would be ArcCorp for the FPS gear. ArcCorp has the best shopping.
Okay.
Not as good a gun selection as Center Mass, but They also have, Cubby Blast also has armor.
Yes.
They got tools. They got, a
Yes.
little bit of everything there.
Yeah.
So you can, it's easiest to get equipped on ArcCorp.
Are you feeling better because of the height reduction for Orison too, since that's your home?
I was actually not aware of that until you mentioned it.
Yeah, it's only 10,000 now to get out instead of 70.
That is fantastic.
Makes you even settle in even more now, right?
Yeah.
Which is good. Oh, by the way, when you quantum in, if you're in orbit, they put you like within visual view of the whole place. It is so cool. I did that the other day.
Fantastic.
And I mean, I didn't mind the fly down as much, you know what I mean? But dude, as soon as you come in, you're probably 20 kilometers away. You can see the whole thing and everything. It's so nice now. So
yep. Like I didn't mind too much. It was for me, it's it's part of what differentiates Orison from the other planets. So I mean, yes, it was kind of annoying, but for something that set it apart, I was able to do it a little bit. But at the same time, it was like I would never go back there. I would avoid going back for any reason. Once I was out of the atmosphere, that's it. I'm gone. I'm not. Like they introduced all those new missions and whatnot. Like I was thinking to myself, I'm never going to use those. I'm never going to go down there and do that. But now there's a possibility.
Okay.
So yeah,
cool.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
Cool beans.
All righty. All right, let's bring in BBG. BBG. Where do you call home and why?
So right now, I operate out of Hurston, and the reason in Lorville, and the reason is simple. It's because whatever mix of gameplay to this point and prior to the patch resets, that's where I have the best reputation.
Ah, okay.
Right. So it's easiest for me to have those high priority bunker missions in Hurston.
Yeah.
So function out of there, and the last few patches hasn't really reset that, or something like you have to start with an initial mission to get that reputation tree going, and then it recognizes what you've done before, and all of a sudden I'm back at my top bunker missions.
Yeah.
And so right now it's Hurston. Now, as the game evolves, I can imagine choosing places like ArcCorp and Crusader. I think they're going to ultimately be more like my style.
Okay, I got you.
Right now it's Hurston.
Okay. That's pretty cool. I like Hurston. ArcCorp is where I'm at, but I go to Hurston whenever I'm doing medical role play because it's centralized and I can get to any of the other planets without, you know what I mean, as far as the big distance crossing and stuff.
Right, right.
But yeah,
easy to do.
Very good location as far as if you want to get around the verse. Okay. Thanks, BBG.
Yep.
All right. And last but not least, let's bring in Fist to Face. Fist, where do you call home and why?
Well, right now, currently, I call home Area 18. It's growing on me.
Okay.
It's ease of access to get to things. It's a very kind of condensed city as well. Let me say as far as, where everything is within Area 18.
Yeah.
So for that functionality, that's where I call home.
Okay.
So otherwise, as state of the game, as things start to progress, then I'll see, but for right now, where I look at
there. Real quick, since you're my last person, do you think a lot of people will start, like to BBG's point, do you think with the update of Hurston, of Lorville, do you think there'll be people now who will reconsider Lorville as their place now?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I think people will, obviously something new folks want to go see. I think from me, I won't. I think I'll just go and visit.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to checking it out.
See it.
Yeah, but all the restrictions are gone. They'll be adding new stuff. So I'm just curious whether some people will, Nihilus calls it a what, but I'm hoping we'll see if some people change their location. All right, buddy. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Okay. Thank you, guys. That was a good quick round of stuff. Thank you all. Listen, I want to throw a question at you guys, and I'm going to play this video. And this video is done by AERODY. We've shown AERODY's videos before. AERODY did a 317 versus 318 lighting pass, showing you the difference and how the lighting has changed. And some of you all who've been in the PTU, you've seen how dramatic graphics have changed. G12 performance, the new lighting passes that have been done, but some of you may not have. But it's always cool to watch these comparison videos, even if you've been there before, because it's very easy to miss some of the changes. So I want to show this and then have you guys come in and you tell me what you think. And the question I'm going to ask you is, even though we're in alpha, and the person earlier talked about how we should be further along than this, and why are they going back to these cities or these landing zones and revamping and doing stuff? They should do that later. My question to you is, how do you feel about when they do this in a patch, when things visually get better? Maybe the game features don't come in. Maybe there's some new mechanic that you've been waiting for that you haven't seen. Maybe there's that ship. But how do you feel when you do see the tech in these areas of VFX lighting come into the game? So let's take a quick look at the video. Got about 10 minutes. I'm gonna make this bigger for you guys. Ignore my big head. Very funny, Gladestone. Very funny. Okay. So if you guys want to come in and give me your thoughts about what you saw, that was just a new Babbage or Microtech. But yeah, would love to know what your feelings are about, and especially those of you who have been in the PTU. What are your thoughts about, what you saw when you went in? Because there's definitely a difference. Let's go to Pops in Space. Let me kill this music here. Hold on a second there, Pops. Why am I still hearing music? Because I probably didn't turn off the right thing. That's so weird. There we go. All right. Pops, you there?
Yeah, I sure am.
Yes, sir. What do you got some thoughts about this?
Oh yeah, very nice. I never would have noticed that without the video.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed the little furniture, the furniture in the windows,
Mm-hmm.
which is pretty cool. I know it's, and it's not like it's really there, there. But it looks like it's like they're doing a step towards 2.0. Maybe it's some type of a test.
Mm-hmm.
But definitely nice. And it was been something that I would never picked up on it. So thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for the video.
Not a problem. Yep. All right. Let's bring in BBG. BBG, you there?
I am.
Look at this video part right here. This blows my mind. That room is 3-dimensional. As they're panning up, you're actually seeing the different parts of the room. You see that?
Yeah, and I remember the Star Citizen Live and the Inside Star Citizens where they talked about adding these.
The windows, yep.
And when they talked about it coming, they talked about how the fix for this was everything's work, right? But that this was something that they felt that was a light enough workload that they could add fairly quickly.
Yeah.
And that it would immediately do what everybody is experiencing, what Pops just talked about, which is it creates this verisimilitude, particularly around that night lighting, where you start to see depth in these buildings that you didn't see before.
Yeah.
And it's just a nice little enhancement to our ongoing experience that I like a lot. And I think it fits in the context, because you asked the question, do we want to see them doing this type of work? You know, for me, and I think DK talked about it earlier in the chat, you know, my goal is to see them get to tier 0 and everything that they want to do, right? But along the way, you can imagine that they're going to have opportunities to do things just like this, and I'd love to have those too, right? Because it enhances, we are in this unique testable alpha where we're playing while they're building.
Yeah.
And so when they can do these little quality of life things that just enhance the graphical experience, or any other little thing that they can do that isn't going to take them far out of their development cycle to do, I'd love to see it. And this was beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Appreciate that. Thank you, BBG.
Yep.
All right. Yeah. L Doc, thank you for it. Yeah. I don't want to give the wrong impression, because you're right. When they did do that piece, it was designed to say it was 2D, but it's simulated. It gives you the impression of it being 3D, but it isn't. Okay. Let's bring in Certified Gumbo. CB, you there?
Yes.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
here.
What you got? What you got? What you got?
So I've definitely seen that video, and it's fantastic.
Mhm.
The lighting, I think overall, all of the landing zones, all the locations, they've done a lighting pass on, because to me, I think 318, you can see things from space a lot easier when you're flying in, especially the outpost. Not only like the landing zones like Microtech, but also like Crusader. I don't know if you've noticed, but if you are on any of the moons at night and the Crusader planet is in the sky, it reflects back onto the ground, and you can actually see better at night around Crusader. Like, it is a vast improvement. I think that's more impressive than what they've done with the parallax window technology, because I think they first introduced that in Orison, if I recall correctly. But it is great to see that at Microtech, because that last shot, although it doesn't look like it's that significant of a change, it is very much a significant change when you're flying in at night to Microtech. You can see everything a lot easier.
Yes.
And it's a lot easier to navigate at night. And I mean, even the outpost, like I said, like at night coming in to an outpost, the light, I think they fixed the LODs, because the lights load in from a greater distance now than they did in previous patches. And so that's been super helpful.
It's funny you say that. I showed an example to some friends the other day. I will always wake up at R-Corp, right? I come out of my hab, I go down the hall, and right as I'm coming to the elevators in the hab, when you first hit that corner where you see the elevator and you see the panel, it's always black. You have to walk half the distance from when you first see it to the elevator before the panel finally loads in. Now, when you play the game, as soon as you hit that corner, it's already loaded.
Yeah, and you know what that might be too? It might be the render thread hiccups from before. Now with the Gen 12 renderer, like it's rendering at the right rate.
Absolutely. There's no more popping. As you mentioned, when you're approaching an outpost, you don't see the pop-ins that you used to see before. I first noticed this too, that they were starting a little bit of the changes in the last patch with the hangars when you fly into a orbital station, and especially the ones that are like a ring, right? When you're coming into them, you start to see them illuminate slowly. Before, things used to pop in. Now it's almost as if you're getting closer, it starts to light up, and then you start to see everything come in nice and smooth. So yeah, I think that these little things, I think BBG said it a few minutes ago, even though we know they're still working on the game, the fact that they have the ability to still include these things that create even greater immersion for us as players, I welcome it, basically.
Yeah.
I welcome it.
And like this, I mean, this is just the beginning of the Gen 12 rework. Like they fully implemented now. They still have a lot of optimization work that they do. And for those that don't know, like they've been optimizing Gen 12 with every build since 3.18 is going to PTU. So like the version of Gen 12 that we get once we go to live is going to be a lot better than the version that was initially implemented in like December or whenever this went into Evocati.
Absolutely.
And then we still got
Vulcan coming too, right?
Vulcan.
Yep,
yeah,
there
so
you
like
go.
Vulcan is
Great.
going to change the like it. I mean, Vulcan's going to be amazing.
Absolutely.
Once they can get that in there. So
okay, thanks, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
You guys are wonderful. We are right on time, 3:09, and I said 3:10. I was going to be getting ready to log off. So thank you guys so much for all the comments and coming in and sharing your thoughts and stuff. Let's talk about what we've got coming up. And I think, hopefully I've got these queued up correctly. I think so. Yeah, there we go. Tomorrow, our Sunday show, our main panel show, we're going to be doing Delivering the Goods. We're going to be talking about basically what the cargo refactor has done for the game, how it has impacted multiple areas of the game, especially for the future, whether it's mining, whether it's salvage, whether it's trade. We're going to be talking about that. Digital Master 137 is going to be our special guest. Be his first time on with us tomorrow. So we're looking forward to having him here. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us for that tomorrow. It's going to be at, at 8 p.m. Eastern time right here on Twitch and on YouTube. Other than that, today is also Podset Saturday. As you guys know, on Saturdays, we try to work alongside both Astropub and Relay. We give you guys a full afternoon and evening of nothing but Star Citizen content. So when you leave from here, we want to encourage you to check out Paul Shelley's show, the Astropub, the Captain's Table, at 6 p.m. Eastern time. He's not on right now because it's probably a little bit too early for him. And I'm also leaving earlier than usual, but usually he's on by 4 o'clock. But we do want to encourage you guys to check out Paul's show at 6 p.m. Eastern time for the Captain's Table. And then after that, Paul will often refer folks over to Relay, and those guys are on at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So hopefully you guys will be able to join them. Hopefully you guys can. We want to go ahead and set up a raid here, and I think we're going to raid. Oh boy, who haven't we raided in a while? Let's do HC Vertigo. We're going to send you guys over with HC today. So when you get over there to HC's channel, you guys give him a shout. Let him know that you came over from Soul Citizens. Of course, if you like what you see, like and follow him. And I want to say a special thank you to PBG, Fist to Face, J2, Smiling Viking, Kaizen, J Voodoo Child, Pops in Space. All you guys, thank you guys for coming in. And also, Certified Gumbo. Thank you guys so much for dropping in today and sharing your thoughts with us. And hopefully we'll see you guys tomorrow on Sunday for Delivering the Goods. Until then, take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Peace, love, and soul. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. Ciao.
Yeah, I still get the goodies I have in my inventory. Probably helps if I pull up. Soul Citizen, thanks for that raid. How'd your stream go today? Thank you so much. Yeah. Welcome, Big Buck Gaming. You guys doing some hip hops in space. Well, yeah. So we were doing Siege of Orison, then we had a little bit of an oopsies. We had a bit of an oopsies. There we go. And then... Alright, some shout outs. Well, you have a great day, Soul Citizens. You have a good one.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Great show. Great show. Good